Welcome to another Pro Audio Suite, thanks to Austrian Audio, making passion heard, and Tribooth. Don't forget the code, TRIPAP 200, to get $200 off your Tribooth.
5, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Welcome.
Hi.
Hello, everyone.
To the Pro Audio Suite.
These guys are professional, they're motivated.
With Tech to the VO stars, George Whittam, founder of Source Elements, Robert Marshall, international audio engineer, Darren Robbo Robertson, and Global Voice, Andrew Peters. Thanks to Tribooth, Austrian Audio, making passion heard, Source Elements, George the Tech Whittam, and Robbo and AP's international demos. To find out more about us, check theproaudiosuite.com.
Line up, ladies!
Here we go.
Now, an event happened, well, by the time this goes to air, I guess about a week or so ago, was VO Atlanta. And who was there? George. How was it?
I was lucky enough to be there. Yeah, it was good. I mean, there's always a lot of good, feelings. People, the energy is very, very high at those events because you've got, 1,000 voice actors who don't get to see each other but once or twice a year. And so there's just an automatic energy thing that comes with that, right? No matter what the event is or how good or bad it is, that's always a factor, right? So they always have that going for them because no matter what goes on, people are in a pretty good mood, And, I got to say, the production values, the quality of the audio and video in the live room, in the main presentation room, was excellent. They had a very good local company providing audio and video. They had PTZ cameras so they could document and video every presentation in the rooms. In the smaller rooms, they had GoPros set up just to capture every lecturer so that everybody can watch them back later. There was a lot of really good things going on. And the cost of these shows to attend and sponsor has all gone up, as you can imagine. And, there's going to be some folks to decide, hey, it's just too much to invest. And I get that. But you definitely feel like you're getting some value for the dollar when you see how well it's done in a lot of ways. So the biggest problem with VO Atlanta really is the FOMO problem. So either you're not there and you're missing out, or you are there and you found out about the other 8 things that were going on during that hour that you missed.
Yeah.
And so no matter what, you're missing something. And that's how it goes at these kind of shows because there's so much going on.
Yeah.
I did have a very good time, and I made a lot of great connections as well. A few of them new, most of them renewed. And really for me, the most valuable thing was getting to put the Passport VO in front of people and let them use it. That was the best
Passport evangelist.
Passport evangelist. Mm-hmm. I was a Passport evangelist for sure. It was really cool that I got to put it up inside inside a Studio Bricks booth. In fact, I do actually have a video at some point I'll release of me using it in the booth, and I sort of demonstrate using it with my iPhone because it worked so well with the iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a picture of you guys to see it set up in the booth. But what I did was I put it in the booth, and I recorded the microphone inside the Studio Bricks. And then I got out of the booth, and then I interviewed Miguel from Studio Bricks, and he had a headset mic on, right?
Yeah.
So I had the Rode Video mic Go 2. So I had him with a headset. I had a mic on me. Those were both going to my phone that I was shooting video with. And then when he goes into the booth, I'm filming from outside through the glass.
Oh, cool.
Which I do right here. Bing. And now he's in the booth, but now I had him get on mic. And I said, get on mic. And then he gets on mic. So I have his audio on mic recorded with my phone. And it turns out people were using that setup. In this case, we were using a Vanguard, which Full Compass, who's the sponsor this year for audio gear, had the V4. So we put up a V4 in the booth with the Passport, and people were in there recording with it all weekend, doing auditions, getting jobs done. And then they do this thing called team training, or sorry for getting the name of it already, Dan. I'm tired. Dan Friedman puts on this thing every single year, and people get together in teams and produce a commercial from soup to nuts in like 24 hours.
Right.
It's pretty intense. So they're writing it, they're figuring out whose job is what, they figure out who's going to voice it, and then they do the production and the mix and everything all, over the weekend. And some people were recording their stuff in the booth. So we got to really use it. We got to use it in the real world. A ton of people got to see it. We handed out a ton of business cards. And so that was very valuable.
Yeah. Now, talking of booths, though, there also Memo, the Tribooth Memo.
The Tribooth Memo made its debut, yes. So the Tribooth Memo was being showed by our friend, the very guy, Memo Soseda. He was there presenting about, he had an X session about audio recording, and it was for the Spanish language part of VO Atlanta.
Yeah, he covered Source Connect in that, I saw.
He did a full-on demo of Source Connect, as well as like almost everything you could imagine, from microphone choices, DAW choices, all sorts of portable booth solutions. But most important to me really was that he showed off the Tribooth Memo, which is a very, very portable booth kit. It is the most portable thing that we've ever devised that is still big enough to not only sit inside at your table or desk, but it has extendable legs, so you can actually make it standing height. And the most amazing part is it folds down and fits in half of a carry-on suitcase. Wow. Just one half. So if you have one of those cases, it's a clamshell.
Yep.
And one
half
side
of a
has the
carry-on.
zipper.
Wow, that's impressive.
So, if you have a clamshell case where half of it is zipped shut, it will fit.
But in this one,
half.
you have to take your own.
There's no blankets. Yeah. You've got to raid housekeeping and steal a few blankets and shit.
Which is really almost never a problem. I mean, you can almost always.
But
get
is that a
comforter.
Ninja clamp?
Oh yeah, one of the things that accessories you can get for it, which isn't part of the booth purchase. The booth is just the frame. But this, you can get the Stage Ninja clamp, which looks like a strong spring clamp.
I've got one. I've got the one for the cell phone. They're pretty damn good, actually.
Yeah, they're actually really good. It's like a strong A clamp, the kind of thing you use to strengthen your grip, Yeah. And then it's got this bendy plastic segmented section, which kind of looks like the Gorilla Pod, if you've ever seen those tripods that you can bend around. And then in this case, it just looks like probably like a simple shock mount that you could put a shotgun mic in. It works perfectly with this. And then it also has these little plastic clips that when you throw the blanket over the frame, the plastic clips just keep the blanket from falling off. Yeah. So it's really clever.
So without putting you on the spot, what's the price comparison to that compared to a full Tribooth?
What do you mean without putting me on the spot? You just put me on the spot.
I didn't know whether you'd know the prices off the top of your head. I fully expected you to go, I don't know, have a look on the website.
No, it is on the website. It is available to buy, and it's $5.99.
$5.99 for the Memo.
US.
Yeah.
Okay. The full size original is $1,500.
Yeah.
So it's a far more cost effective product if you are in a budget and you want something like this and you figure, well, I could just use my own blankets, or I already have furniture pads or some kind of other blanket from another DIY booth I made, but now I want to have my own. I really like the way the frame is designed. Yeah.
Well, I think without being rude though, too, the Memo is more portable than like a full-on Tribooth too, right? Like, as you say, you throw it in a carry-on bag and you've got it.
The Memo is way more portable.
Tribooth isn't carry-on, that's for sure.
The Tribooth is not carry-on. The Tribooth is checkable.
I'm not bagging the Tribooth either by any imagination here. The Tribooth is amazing and for its purpose is brilliant. But if you've got to plane hop from here to there, the Memo is going to be heaps easier to move around than a full-on Tribooth.
I told a lot of people about it.
You should make a fabric option for the Memo, just so that in case you got the space, you can. What he needs is this. He needs to make some laundry or some clothes that will work as clothes, but also work as the coverings.
There you go.
You need to get a very large friend.
VO studio suit? Is that what you're saying?
It's
Or you
kind
could do your washing.
Yeah, except when you're in it, you're naked because all the clothes are on the outside of it.
You could hang your washing out on it. You could go and do your washing in the laundry and bring it up and hang it out to dry while you do your voice
That's
session.
hilarious. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Or
down.
you could just be in a very smelly booth, right?
You sit down, you get inside, you undress, and you hang your clothes all over the booth.
All over the booth. Yep.
And you sit in there naked.
And actually, here's the real genius part. First of all, if it's hot out and if you did your laundry, but you don't want to pay for the dryer and you want a better acoustic effect, you just leave them wet.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
Wet
Even better.
clothes. The ultimate is you just wear the clothes that you wore to the gym that morning. You're good to go.
Oh, nasty.
Until you pass out in there.
Yeah. Since this is quickly becoming a video episode that it was never going to be, just show us that photo of you doing the interview with the passport too, because that was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And what did you have plugged into that thing? EV, like an EV635 or something?
I did. I had an EV635. So I just, my rollerboard bag that I took
I know
on the
my
airplane,
mics are what?
You sure do, my friend. I had a EV635 that I just, we all know this microphone because it's unbelievably robust. It can take tremendous amounts of abuse. There we go.
Go back to that screenshot just quickly. Oh, my God. Welcome to behind the scenes of the Pro Audio Street.
This is us wasting tremendous amounts of time.
That was before hair and makeup.
Right, because we discovered that function. So what I did was I brought along, what I thought was a very portable kit, and it really was. I had the Passport, an AT875R, which is this mic this gentleman, Rob Smith, is holding. I had my $1 aquarium pop screen on there.
Yeah.
And then I had a 635 too, because why not? Always carry an EV635. You never know when you need to interview somebody
when you're going to need one.
or finish hammering in a nail.
I was going to say, yes, exactly.
I mean, that is like the classic reporter's microphone.
It is.
Like from the 60s and 70s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think that might be the only microphone in the world that's tougher than an SM57.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. But it is literally a yard sale find mic. I think I've had it for 25, maybe 30 years. And it still works great. So, and the body of the mic is so thin, it fits right into the socket on your interface. So I plugged it into the MicPort Pro. I put my bendy tripod on the bottom and wham, there you go. It was a perfect 2-person interview rig.
Except it's the Passport VO.
Mm-hmm. And then I used my long USB-C cable that's actually an optical cable. It doesn't look like an optical, but it's technically an optical cable.
To go to the computer?
And then, no, to my phone. I ran it right to my iPhone.
So what
my
power
iPhone
did you
was on a
power
tripod.
with a power bank?
Didn't need to.
No.
How did the optical cable power it? I thought that thing
Because it has
carry
a power wire inside it.
Oh, it does?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fancy.
It's a $45 cable made by Cable Matters. It's USB optical, and it's got USB optical and also the power all in one cable.
So it carries the power, that's pretty cool for that optical. How long is that optical cable?
This is a 5 meter. So I in no way assumed it would carry power, right? I only cared that it had data, so I thought I would use my battery pack with it. And I did the first time I set it up. And then when I was taking everything apart and I unplugged the power bank from the COM port, it was still on. And I was like, what the hell?
Because you weren't even using because you weren't even
out.
set to use the COM port. You must have been set to use the other port. If not, it would have powered off.
I expected to power it from a battery pack plugged into the comms USB port.
Yeah.
Right, but you never flipped the switch. You never flipped the switch to comms, did you?
No.
You must not have.
I must not have, because it just worked. So I didn't even think about it. It didn't even occur to me. I just turned on the switch and it turned on, and I was like, off I go. But anyway, it was quite surprising to see that you can run the phone, run this right to an iPhone 15. It has to have the USB-C to be powering the device, but the phones now have the juice to power the device. And Android phones have been able to do that for quite some time now, but That was really
Not
cool.
lightning. Yeah. So when you did your levels, you just did your levels from the phone, or did you use the mic switch to kind of check levels A and levels B? How did you?
No, I just looked at the view meters on the Road Capture app.
On the Road,
it shows the video on, and I shot this whole interview with the selfie camera on the iPhone to make it a lot easier on me. So I just had the screen facing me. It had the 2 view meters on the screen, so I could see the levels.
Yeah.
And I checked it at first with my headphone, made sure there was a signal there on both mics, and then I took off the headphones.
So I have to ask one thing about the setup. The 635 being an Omni and him being next to you with the second mic, did you get any like little
Spill.
doubling, like spill
there's
between
going
the
to be
two
a
mics?
lot of spill. Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's going to be a fair amount of spill. What I'm going to do is I'll take this video. This is a little thing. So I'm figuring out, I'm actually thinking about what's the best post workflow now, right? So now I have a video with audio pan left and right. I could drag it into iMovie, but iMovie doesn't have a way to mix the 2 tracks audio individually. I could drag it into Premiere, but that seems like that's a much heavier program than I normally would use, but I could. I could drag it into Twisted Wave and do the post in Twisted Wave.
Can iMovie do any audio suite or AU plugins on the tracks, or does
Nope.
iMovie not have that?
iMovie's
Can't.
very stripped down. Of course, I could use Final Cut, but I don't have Final Cut. So,
But that's also overkill.
I could drag
You
it
could
into...
you could use Reaper.
I could use Reaper if I was
Reaper
really
edits
like
video.
Yeah,
It
if I
edits
was really
video.
a whiz with Reaper and video editing, I could do it in there.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's always going to end up in Descript. That's where I'm going to really do my post. But Descript does not have the best audio. It doesn't know what to do when there's a left audio channel and a right audio channel. It doesn't have a way to really deal with that correctly. So that's annoying. So I'll probably just mix the audio in another DAW like Adobe Audition or something, and then just
Ugh.
glue it all.
You know
back
why they call it
together.
Adobe Audition, right?
No.
Because it didn't get past the audition.
Oh. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, where's that?
Exactly.
That's, here.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Well, that's good enough.
That's such a dad joke, seriously.
It really is.
Yeah.
So let's see. What else? I mean, you talk to 10 people, you're going to get 100 stories. But let's see. The first day was my breakout session, or what's called an X session, and I taught my cutting edge or the bleeding edge of audio recording technology. And it was only a few people, so I was just like, "Hey, what do you guys want to know?" And that's what we did for 3 hours,
cool.
and they were happy,
Well, that's good
And,
value for money for them, seriously.
That's the thing. If I'm going to teach a class, even if it's 3 people, I want to make sure that they feel like they got their
They get what they
money's
want to
worth.
know. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that's really important to me.
So
yeah.
I have to ask, did you visit the Source Elements booth?
I certainly
You
did.
did. Yeah.
You're
It was pretty low key. I mean, we only had one pop-up stand, I think.
Yes. No. You had a full setup, and you were doing demos all day. And you, Robert, were available a lot of the time to do remote tests with folks so they could hear how
Yeah,
it
I was
works.
just like the guinea pig. Yep.
And while I had to do a tech support for Allison Packard for Source 339, I was like, hey, Vincent, you got a Source 3.9 license over on your Mac? He was sitting at the table across from me, and I was sitting at Randy Thomas's booth because she wasn't there. And I was like, hey, can you jump on and do a test with Allison? So he was doing tech support for us while we were sitting there. It was pretty handy.
Someone else had emailed us and said, "Oh, I need all these questions," and we were like, "Oh, come visit us at the booth." And then I don't know who she was. Vincent was pissed. Actually, she just walked up and went, "Here's my 2 laptops. Can you set them up?" Boom, and then walked away.
He told me that.
And,
I saw the 2
and
laptops
Vincent was like,
sitting there.
"Man, she doesn't even have a support contract."
Yeah, and they were PCs, no worse, no less.
Yeah, he was mad. He's like, she was so presumptuous.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw that. Oops. Studio Bricks was back, which was quite a shock to me to see them there as sponsors, but they were back. They really, they really want to make sure people don't forget who they are, that they're the kings of prefab booths. And I would say that they really still are pretty much the king, the Cadillac, the Mercedes of prefabricated booths. I mean, those things look
no one's
better.
outdone the Studio Bricks. Yep.
Yeah, they upgraded the door handle. It's a much nicer handle. It
was already nice. If
It's
like
already
what you
nice, but the
have,
new handle's
yeah.
even better. Miguel showed me how it's easier to install. It's fewer parts. It's just better engineered door handle. Which, I don't know, it doesn't sound like a big deal, except you use it all the time.
Well,
and
it's
if the
pretty
door
important.
handle,
the
the
most
door
wear
handle
and tear piece
fails,
on that thing. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Hello?
It could be like a Tesla. It could be like a Tesla. You're not getting out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. The good thing about a Studio Bricks, though, is if the door handle breaks, you can just take it apart from the inside and climb out. Your neighbor will be like, "What the hell was that?" When you push the roof off and it hits the floor.
Yeah.
Bam!
Yeah. It could be worse. It could be like the scene in Ace Ventura when he has to get out of the bull or the rhino.
Oh no!
You know
Don't
what I'm
even-
talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
It's one of the greatest scenes in cinematography.
yeah, that was something. Yeah. So, and then the other thing of interest to me in the expo hall definitely was Full Compass. Full Compass is a really a AV dealer.
Yeah, they're a
here
little
in
bit
the
more.
US.
Yeah.
And they've always considered themselves a little bit more B2B, which one of the sales reps there told me. But he said the last few years, they've really been courting the voice actor and doing packages and doing a lot more voice actor centric gear. And this is their second year now sponsoring VO Atlanta. And I told him, I was like, kudos to you guys as being a company, a company like yours, putting your money into voiceover. I was really glad to see that. And not only that, they're also very interested in carrying the Passport VOs too. So they may be the first catalog that has Passport VO available, which is awesome.
And
Cool.
Yeah.
And shipping to them will be cheap because they're in Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Yes, but it's a cool company. They've been around for a long time. I used to deal with them way back.
I always used to get confused because I always thought like Full Compass should actually be the school and Full Sail should be the store.
You're right. That's a good one. Yeah, no, they were cool. They had a really cool booth set up. They are actually the key sponsor, or the whatever you call it, the headline sponsor for Making Waves podcast. I don't know if you guys have heard that podcast.
No.
But
I haven't heard
another
that one.
excellently produced podcast. And they were there. They had a setup for doing the podcast, and they recorded a podcast episode, and I got to jump in. And I got to plug the Passport there too. I wasn't messing around. When I heard that they were going to do an episode, I was like, when's it going to be? I want to be right. I'm going to be there.
Yeah.
So I got myself on that show, baby.
You're going to have to change your name for all these interviews. That you'll have to be George the Tech Passport VO Whittam.
Yeah.
I'll go with that.
Pull up quick to get Whittam.
That's right. So
George is like the guy who like walking down the street with like he wishes he had a whole bunch of passports in the suitcase. Be like, knock, knock, knock.
Yeah. You should, I could think of a tagline. It's like, always leave home Whittam.
Oh, there you
go.
Well, it just felt like I was there, to talk up Passport as much as really anything else, and that's really kind of where I put a lot of my effort. But it was really an excellent show. For folks who can come to a show like that, I think you do it once. I think you have to do it once so you know what that kind of a show is like, and see if it's for you. I think if you're an introvert, you will not like it at all. It's very intense. You're around a lot of people. It's loud. It's just sort of unrelenting. If you go, I would recommend staying off campus and not in the building, because I think you need to physically leave the building sometimes to decompress. Also, you need to get out of the building.
If not, you end up in the bar talking about voiceover all night long.
Yeah,
Well, you do that anyway, surely. Seriously.
People do that. I mean, Saturday night, I was at the bar. The bar and restaurant there, it's so busy. There's so many people, and the bartenders are so stretched thin that there's people with backpacks with their own booze. We're pouring shots. Like nobody
cares.
Yeah. Cool.
Because they're making so much money. They're like, yeah, whatever. Let these guys have their fun. So I'm drinking monkey shoulder
just from
whiskey.
the hotel gig alone.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. I mean, unfortunately, the Australian voiceover industry would never sustain something like that, but it would be so cool if we could have something like that here.
Why wouldn't it sustain it?
You guys,
I just don't think, I don't think there'd be any particularly a lot of interest.
I think, yeah. I kind of feel like wherever you hosted it, you would get, say you hosted it in Melbourne, right? I reckon majority of voiceover artists in Melbourne would turn up, maybe not for a whole weekend, but for a look around, right? But I don't know that you'd get masses of people flying
People
in.
wouldn't travel for it.
Yeah,
No.
I don't know.
People
that you'd get
fly
people flying in
internationally for
it.
VO Atlanta.
Yeah.
I know.
Which,
There were more
I
than one Kiwi there.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Wow.
I saw Toby Ricketts there. Yeah.
I mean, of all places like Atlanta, but I guess so. But
Well,
I mean,
keep
I don't know.
in
Cut
mind,
this out if you want. But
keep in
I'm always
mind-
concerned about it being like too like insular, selling into like, you know, like I don't know, like here's a demo, here's a this, like selling into the industry. And
Do you mean
a
like
little
selling
bit-
to the converted, like people who already know about you? Is that what you
No,
mean?
like selling to the dreamers a little
Yeah.
bit.
Right,
That's what
okay.
I worry.
Yeah.
That's what I worry about that. Because I've always been concerned. Like I've always thought like, you know, like source connect. You get it when you need it. It's going to pay for itself.
We know
that
that
kind of
there is a
thing.
foil to the VO Atlanta thing, right? You know, there's a bunch. So you know, WovoCon, World Voices. They're
Mhm.
doing
Yeah.
you know what they call their unconference, which was created.
Right, which was the FAFCOM.
Well,
before,
FAFCON
right?
before, right? Created by Amy Snively. And she said, listen, you guys take, I'm not doing it anymore. You guys do it. So the WovoCon thing is a totally different angle to producing a conference where there is no salesy things going on.
Yeah.
Nobody's pushing anything. They have a few sponsors. And I think Source Elements, did you guys support?
I'm not sure that we did. We did. I came by and just to like
You did a
talk to
demo?
people, but not to be like a hard sell. Because it was like they invited us more than like, hey, let us go there and like push our product kind of thing. So
Well, they invited you, but they didn't send you like a sales sheet and say, if you want to be on this banner and show up on the website, it'll
yeah,
be
it wasn't like on the
$1,200.
upsell. Like what's his name? Gerald was just like, oh my God, dude.
right.
Like
Yeah.
all the
It's a different way of doing a convention, and WovoCon can be produced much less expensively, mainly because there's not a lot of support. You know, there's no flashy sound system, no lighting. You know, they don't have 10 rooms.
it's smaller. It's not
smaller.
600 people.
Right. It's like 100 and something, 150 people tops maybe. So there is different conferences for different kinds of folks out there. So if the idea of going to VO Atlanta is intimidating due to its scale and it seems a little too much, check out WovoCon. They do it in a different city every year. So
Every year,
this year
yeah.
it's going to be in New Orleans this year in October.
And WovoCom seems more like voice talent helping voice talent instead of
coaching
whatever
coaches
like
and
coaches and
Right.
even Source Elements and whoever selling stuff too. So it's less like because I always thought that's interesting. It's like, you know, here's this thing and like, man, I mean, Voice Atlanta is charging the attendees. It is a money factory for
Yeah.
whoever runs it because
Yeah.
everybody gets charged to be there.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
the janitor is paying to clean the place up.
Yeah. Well, then you look at the other kind of biggish, mediumish, size-ish conference of the year, and that would be SOVAS. That's Voiceover, and that's in December every year. And it's
Isn't
sort
that
of-
an award show?
yeah,
more
it's sort
like?
of in the middle of the two, right? Because there's also One Voice, which is in the UK
Yeah.
and the US,
And-
right? So
Yep.
there's a lot of these different kinds of conferences, all at different scales. One Voice might be kind of like the Goldilocks. It's not
Yeah,
so big.
we've been doing like One Voice a little bit more, and it seems to. I've not been to a One Voice. I know that we've
One
sponsored
Voice
it.
runs an awards
yeah.
show just like SOVAS. Well, I'm not
Yeah.
just like SOVAS. It's very different from SOVAS. But SOVAS is like the Emmys of voiceover in the US, right? Same kind of thing, same kind of show. Maybe it's more like the Golden Globes. Apparently it's literally in the same theater as the Golden Globes, right? So it has that very glitz and glamour, very showy. It's a very big, you have to pay to submit yourself to be nominated. It's
also privately owned, I believe.
Yeah, it's a nonprofit
Yeah.
but privately owned. And so it's a different kind of spiel, and then they have it attached to That's Voiceover, which is the conference. But that's a very small show too, and it doesn't have like 12 things happening simultaneously. It has like more of like one show going on at a time. So these all have these different things they all have this different thing that they do. And I think, if I was going to do something, I always enjoy the WovoCon model. I love that there's so many, because really WovoCon is about pros. It's not that they turn away.
It's much more communal.
Yeah, it's not. They don't turn away new actors. There's always a few new actors there, but they're overwhelmingly are professional voice actors, and they all have something to teach. Almost everybody.
But they're not there to rope in new people. They're there to support existing people, trade industry secrets.
Yeah.
Commiserate about the industry. I'm
at WovoCon to be in the conversation. That's how it always works. You got to be in the room where it happens, right? That's how you stay relevant. And people go, oh, I've been meaning to call you. I hear that all the time.
Right,
oh,
but that's okay because you're there and you're giving genuine advice while you're there.
Right.
You're a member of the community, but you're not there I hope. Whoa. And all the little if I'll buy it now, you'll get me for half the price that you like. It's not that. And I think even if you did that there, they would frown on it.
A different mindset. Probably. I don't think any of them. I don't think any of them are wrong. And I really think, I don't fault J. Michael and his wife Anna for what they're doing because they're doing it well, right? So whether you like the way they do it or whether you believe in the model, they're not phoning it in. You know what I mean? It's really well produced. It's well run.
I've not been to a VO Atlanta since Gerald.
Yeah, it's
let
Gerald
it go crazy.
Gerald did
at the end of
did his thing. He tried, but Jay, Michael, and Anna have stepped it up big time, and it's well run. So I'll leave it at that. It's not for everybody, but it was definitely a good experience, and
it's definitely the biggest of all of them.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Another thing they did new this year was they had cadets, which means you could sign up and say, I want to help out a newbie. So you would get matched up to any new attendee. So if there was their very first time, and it is really overwhelming for them, they would hook you up with somebody else who's a veteran, and they would show you the ropes. So that was really cool. And they all got these cool Star Trek-like badges, that they wore. It was cute. They were these cool 3D printed badges and stuff.
So tell me this. An attendee goes there, buys a couple X sessions, like you get a certain number of sessions and then you got to buy X sessions, right?
X sessions are always extra. Breakouts are always free. And so if you do nothing but breakouts, it's going to be like a $700 something ticket. It includes 2 lunches.
Plus hotel.
2 lunches.
Yeah.
If you're local, obviously that's good. But a hotel, yep. The hotel, the Hilton itself's the most expensive one, I think. The other neighboring hotels all have deals with the conference. I rented a house and just hooked it up with a few. I put the word out there. I was like, yo, anybody want to stay with me in my house? It's cool. 2 people stepped right up. So we split the price 3 ways. I was able to use it as a place to have a gathering on Sunday night. I had a little meetup, and the meetup was focused on people that couldn't go to VO Atlanta. So I got to, see more people that I wouldn't have seen otherwise. So that worked out really well.
But if you're attending VO Atlanta, I would guess it's if you got a plane flight too, you're probably looking at
like $2,000,
$800 to $2,000, I guess. Yeah, if you say $2,000, but you're at least spending $800 without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Is there better ways to spend your money? Probably. I mean, you really have to look at what your budget is, know what you want to spend in advance, be smart about it, and look at what you want to learn. And if what you want to learn is not going to be taught there, don't do it. I mean, if you want the Dave Walsh True Tell thing and you want a 3-hour class with him, great. Some people would rather just book him for a one-on-one. They think that's more valuable, right? So it's everybody's different. Some people, let's put it this way. If you do not know what you want to focus on, go to VO Atlanta. It's a total cornucopia of information. If you know what your goals are right now and you want to focus on one genre and really nail this demo, and it may not be the best place to spend your money. Spend the money on coaching and a demo, So, by the way, we gave away a unicorn prize, and the winner was a woman named Christy Harst. Christy created this thing called Building Doors, and it's all about getting women doing sports and doing other styles of promo and things that have always been considered, male dominated.
Guy.
And she won this unicorn award this year. One person wins this award every year. And the raft of prizes, I have a video of
it's like $100,000.
Yeah, I have a video of J. Michael reading all the sponsors' names. It goes on for like 8 minutes. He's trying to get through the list. They used to tally it for you. It was last year it was over 100,000 in prizes. And so the person that wins, Christy, she got so much coaching. Uncle Roy gave her a lifetime support, lifetime tech support.
How old is Uncle Roy?
I'm heard on camera saying, well, that ain't gonna be that long.
Oh, man.
Which I hope he's not offended. I mean, we're friends, but still, that was pretty stone cold when I said that. I was like, I hope nobody had heard me say that, but I think they did.
Well, they have now.
Yeah. And my friend Ann Ganguza won the support or the service provider of the year award, which was pretty cool for her. She's a great person and really knows her stuff.
What's her service?
She's a coach and and produces demos. And then Randy Thomas got the Voice of Greatness Award, which is a play on words, VOG. Voice of God, because of all of her work doing television show live announce
stuff.
Yeah, so they gave her an award this year, which is really nice. Her daughter Rachel, who's really cool. I've worked with Rachel too. She presented the award for her mom, so that was really, really sweet. That was cool. So yeah, a lot of good feelings, a lot of good networking, and I just hope we sold out the passports. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
Well, you sold a few. So what was the attendance? Was it like 700? I think that's usually what it is.
It's supposed to be hitting the 1,000-person mark, but
wow,
I don't know for sure.
They're gonna outgrow the hotel that they're in.
Yeah, like there is an app, so I guess you could go into the app and look at the attendees list, and then count. That's how you would know.
Oh, yourself.
Yeah. And of course, that would be the people that logged into the app, of course. But if I go to registrants on the app, these are the people that registered.
Wow.
Oh, okay.
So, so just rewind for 1 second for me. If you're saying they're getting close to 1,000 people, are you saying, did you say it's $700 for a ticket?
Mm-hmm.
I told you it's a big money printing machine.
That's just tickets, let alone sponsors or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Wow.
Well, the sponsors are like the small beans in the whole thing because the sponsors are, I forget how much they are, but they're paying
anywhere
at least
from like
$4,000
to
Andrew, VO Sydney next year.
Yeah, that's right.
Go for it.
I mean, I think also throughout the year they're hawking specials. So some of the people got there for like $300 maybe.
Yeah,
or something.
I think next year they're doing ticket sales for $5.99 if you buy it right now. That means if it's $5.99 today,
I have no doubt
that means
they
next year
raked in
it's going to be
$750,000
for sure.
Yeah.
I have no doubt they pulled in at least $700,000.
Well,
like,
that's
line.
just tickets. Like, sponsors on there
all the
as
rest
well.
of it. It's way over $1 million.
Because they do pay, so they pay the people for the X sessions, I believe, right, George?
Yeah.
So if you do an X session, they split it with you. Like if you pull 50 people in, and it's how much is an X session? Like $100 or something?
I think this year they were $250 a piece.
Yeah, and they got to pay for the room, and they got to pay for advertising, and they got to pay.
And the food,
blah, blah.
the food is very good. By the way,
staff.
I always thought the food was pretty
was
good.
very good. They've upped the ante on the food quality. The AV team, they've got a serious 4-man AV team that's doing video, audio. They have video walls, and I mean, there's
a lot of production then. By the
production values are very high. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what the rentals cost and everything, but they could be easily spending $70,000 to $100,000 on rentals and all that. So yeah,
I wonder if they get a piece of all the hotel rooms they sell too.
Oh, and this is not that this is nothing to sneeze at, but there's coffee, tea, water, stuff to drink the entire show.
Yeah.
Every single morning coffee for everybody.
Mm.
And that's nice.
Yeah, it's something. It's definitely
premium. J. Michael's whole brand is premium. 5 stars,
True.
lobsters, everything's premium. That's the way this show is run. It's premium. It's expensive.
Lobster lunch. Lobsters for lunch.
That's why I wanted to have a thing that was a sidebar.
I think one year they literally had
lobster
lobster mac and cheese.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
That's why I wanted to have a sidebar thing that I could just do for a few folks that just, can't swing it. And so I was glad to be able to do that. And it was nice to meet a few new people. So
I wonder how many Americans would fly to Sydney for a conference.
a few, I'm sure.
Probably.
I mean,
Well, here's the deal. You have a conference down there. Anybody who wants to go to Sydney and you make it a business trip, well, now you write it off.
mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Also, there's Vocation. Have you heard of Vocation?
Yeah.
What's that one?
That's another one where they
where's
hold
that?
the conference at a location, at a destination.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think they did one in Mexico, like Cancun or something
Dominican,
one time, wasn't
yeah.
it like that?
Dominican
Yeah.
Republic, maybe. Yeah,
I think we should do a conference at a ski chalet.
I'm down with that. That's something I have
Yeah,
not
yeah.
seen yet. I have not seen a tie-in to skiing yet.
With ski.
No, you know what we need to do? We need to have one here.
Uncle Roy's not doing it, right?
No,
we need to have we need to have one here during winter, so you two can come down and come to the footy and have a beer and a pie and experience some real down under hospitality.
That'd be fun.
That's what we need to do.
We should
Yeah.
do a VO, a pro audio suite. We should do a pro audio suite, all in person. George and I,
Conference. Yeah.
we'll have another chance. I'm in LA in a couple of weeks here.
Good luck.
Well, that was fun. Is it over?
The Pro Audio Suite with thanks to Tribooth and Austrian Audio. Recorded using Source Connect. Edited by Andrew Peters and mixed by Voodoo Radio Imaging with tech support from George the Tech Whittam. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and join in the conversation on our Facebook group. To leave a comment, suggest a topic, or just say g'day, drop us a note at our website, theproaudiosuite.com.